Here at Briggs Equipment, we keep a high health, safety and environment standard. The Health and Safety Guide and this video inform you of the hazards that you can expect to encounter while on site, and what is expected of you while working at one of our locations. As a company, we have 4 simple, no-tolerance rules. These are: 1. Personal protective equipment must be worn at all times when required by the working area or as stated in your risk assessment. 2. You as an individual are responsible for ensuring that a risk assessment has been carried out and that suitable precautions have been taken to minimize risk of injury. 3. All accidents must be reported at the first opportunity to your line manager or host. 4. No person shall attempt to lift any item over 20 kilograms unaided. Please keep these at the forefront of your mind whenever you are on site, and before you start any task, to stop, think, be responsible, and be safe. The 4 rules are simple to follow, but the working environments at our depots may have hazards which could harm you, including heavy machinery, movement of vehicles, restricted areas, and hazardous substances. A Briggs Equipment depot is a busy place with employees entering and leaving, deliveries coming in, and shipments being taken out. When you arrive on site, it is essential you sign in.
Sign in?
Yeah, please.
Take notice of the site speed limit and any mandatory PPE you will need to wear. If you are using our car park, please reverse park wherever possible, as this helps improve visibility and maneuverability of your vehicle. When on site, be sure to follow all designated pedestrian areas and remain aware of vehicle movements, especially when you cross or leave a walkway. All fire exits are clearly marked, and your nearest fire assembly point is shown in the guide provided. If you are unsure of where this is, your host will be able to show you. Upon hearing the alarm, you must make safe any machinery you're using and make your way calmly to the nearest assembly point. If you are witness to a fire, please raise the alarm immediately and exit the building. Do not attempt to fight the fire unless trained to do so, or as a last resort to clear an escape route. If you are undertaking any hot work while on site, you will require a hot works permit. If you have not been issued with this, please ask your host. Briggs has a strict policy on smoking, which is only allowed in the designated areas. There are many different areas you are likely to encounter while at Briggs Equipment depots. These may include logistics yards, car parks, workshops, paint shops, storage warehouses, and offices. Each will have different hazards to look out for. You must wear the correct PPE for the area as directed. Personal protective equipment must be worn at all times when required by the working area or as stated in your risk assessment. If you are unsure of requirements when entering a different area, please ask your host or line manager. All work areas are regularly cleaned by trained staff or approved subcontractors, but due to the nature of our work, it is possible that oily residues or liquids may leave slippery floor surfaces, making them potentially dangerous to walk on. You will need to wear anti-slip footwear with toe protection when in the workshop, storage, or logistic areas. Also be aware of tooling, equipment, or other trip hazards associated with the area you are working in. You are responsible for your work area, keeping it clear and free from obstacles. If you find any issue with a work area, please make your host or line manager aware before continuing your work. At Briggs Equipment, we empower everyone to have the self-belief to challenge what they feel may be unsafe. Don't be surprised if you are challenged by a colleague or employee, as they may feel something could be done in a safer way. In return, we ask you to be vigilant when you visit our sites. When you see something that may be improved, we encourage you to challenge and take action to minimize any risk. For anything that you cannot solve, please highlight it to your host or line manager as a safety gain. You can also record any of your suggestions or action you have taken by filling out one of our Safety Gain cards. Any equipment that is used for work at Briggs Equipment locations must be used by operators who are trained in their use, for example using power tools, hot work equipment, or working at height. There is also risk from electrical hazards in the office environment. Trailing wires and overloaded plug sockets are to be avoided at all times. As with all equipment, if it is possible to turn it off at the end of the working day, you should do so to keep the workplace safe and secure. In the unlikely event that you are involved in an accident or near miss, you must report this to your host or line manager. An investigation can then be conducted so we can understand how to stop it from happening again in future. If you are injured while on site, inform a colleague or employee as soon as possible to receive treatment from one of our trained first aiders. Listen to the advice they give you, as they have a responsibility to assess whether you are healthy to return to work or leave site. Whenever you are at a Briggs Equipment depot, it is essential you use good manual handling techniques whenever lifting, reaching, pushing, or pulling. This applies from the smallest job to the largest. Be confident that you can carry out the task in hand and that the route you have chosen is clear from obstruction. An injury sustained from poor technique can have a big impact on your life. We welcome you to join us in the use of our welfare facilities, but ask that you respect them as you would your own, and always leave them in a state you would wish to find them. Always use the handrail on the stairwells, and never carry hot drinks on them. When finished, please use the correct bins for any waste. Remember to wash your hands before using the toilets if you have been working in a dirty environment. After using the toilet, we ask that you always wash your hands with soap to help stop the spread of sickness and disease. If you work at a desk, then a DSE assessment needs to be carried out with you. This will help give you advice on how to minimize any long-term health effects associated with a poor seated position. When using shared printers, please collect your documents as soon as they are printed to help minimize confusion and paper jams. If you need to access high areas, there are employees in your work area trained in the safe use of ladders. At Briggs Equipment, only trained personnel may use this equipment. Your work area is your responsibility and should be kept tidy and free from clutter wherever possible. At the end of your working day, make sure it is organized and cleared correctly to allow it to be cleaned overnight to give you the best start to your next day. Here at Briggs Equipment, we take our responsibility for health, safety and quality seriously, and we expect our visitors, contractors and employees to do the same. Any contractor who is carrying out work on your behalf should be from our approved contractor list that is held with the procurement team. If you have appointed a contractor not on the approved list, then it is your responsibility to ensure that they understand and sign the Contractor Safety Rules document and the Declaration of Competence document before working on site. For any proposed work, you must request, receive and review the contractor's method statement and risk assessment. You must deem whether this is suitable and sufficient before they begin work on site. If you have a visitor or contractor coming to meet you at a Briggs location, it is your responsibility to brief them of any hazards that they may come across while in their area of work. Thank you for watching this presentation today, and I hope you find the information useful. Enjoy your time at Briggs Equipment, and remember:
Stop.
Think.
Be responsible.
And be safe.